Hi everyone, welcome to the next part of this video of our witch's room from Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford, and we are going to come straight in and have a go at some bottles. We have done various different ways of colouring glass already, so let's have a little think about these. Now, we could make them match as they're all on the same shelf, but we actually have lots of bottles on different shelves. Yes, so what we could do is we could do certain colours. So we could do these all blues, for example, and then the ones up here that you can't see in pink and different things like that to make it a little bit easier. But everything else we've done so far has been a bit random. So maybe I do need to keep it random. I think I will. Let's go for random. So I'm going to grab my Terra Verde Deep. I'm going to do a bottle green for this first one here, which is interesting because it's an open bottle. But we're going to make the edge dark. Now I realise that we've got a line here. We're going to worry about that in a minute. So we're going to just do our colour first. So come all the way around the edge in quite a dark colour, so layer it up and then do less towards the centre so that we can do a little bit in the middle with very little or no colour, so it looks like it's shiny. I'm just going to go back round there because it isn't quite defined enough. There we go. What I think I might do to make my bottles easier, now this bit under here is got liquid in, so we're going to actually go over it in another layer to make it look a bit darker, like that. What I am going to do is do all my labels in the same colour. I think that will make life a lot quicker and easier. I'm going to use the almond, so all the labels on all the bottles throughout here, we haven't done any labels yet, they're all going to be in the almond. I think it's quite a good sort of old worn paper type colour, and it will just give us some consistency and make that decision making about colours just slightly easier for me. I'm just grabbing random colours now, so spice red for the next one. I'm going to use it quite lightly because it's quite a dark colour to start with. Same technique as on the last bottle, so going even lighter towards the middle like that, and then where our liquid is, again a little bit darker, just like the last one, keeping it simple. And then the lid, whoops, I'm just going to really emphasize that the lid needs to be light like the top area, so I'm trying to keep it a little bit lighter. It's not easy, but I've done my best. Now I'm going to grab, I tempted to do purple, but we've got our purple background. I'm going to use the mulberry. It's a little bit of a different purpley colour, and I hope that I can make it look different to the background. We'll see what happens, won't we? Again, same technique. Put your colour around the edge, make it lighter towards the middle. It does look a bit different to the background, doesn't it? And then back again over the bit where the liquid is to make it look a bit darker there. So although we're doing our bottles all different colours, this needs to be a bit lighter. They are being coloured in the same sort of way. Keeps it easy for me. And now I think a blue is needed. Let's go for the ultramarine light. I don't like ultramarine, but you know, that's okay. So here it is, ultramarine light. So again, a bit dark on the edge. Actually, this is quite a nice colour, I have to say. Obviously you don't know what I'm talking about. No, some ultramarines are quite nasty, to say. And again, a bit darker where that liquid is. There we go. A bit lighter here if we can. Now we're going to put some white pen on these, now we finish them. Again, the same jelly roll pen that I've been using. Now, shine is coming from our fire, which is down here, you can't see it, so it's going to be on this side of the bottle. Follow the shape of the bottle as best you can. I just messed that up. My pen doesn't want to work. It's clogged. There we go. It's gone all weird. Come on, Mr. Pen. There we go. Right, so that's those. I'm going to move to do this bit because so I don't smudge that white pen, and then I'll come back and do the books. Green. I want a very different green to our cauldron greens, so I'm probably going to go quite deep. I think the juniper green could look quite nice against that purple. So let's grab that one. I'm going to try to make the leaves a little darker at the base, lighter at the tip. We'll just see how it all goes. I think that's just about working because some of them are quite small. They're a little bit tricky to do. But I think that's a rather nice colour actually. It works against that purple. Now you can make your leaves shiny and add a little bit of pen to them. Some leaves are very shiny, but I'm thinking this is drying out by the fire, so it might be sort of slightly old, so I don't think it would be shiny. That's just my imagination going a bit weird. So I'm going to use the French rose, just sharpening it now, for the ribbon. And we're going to do it in a similar way to we did the ribbon for our cauldron, apart from the fact because it's so small, it's going to be a little bit trickier. So I'm just going to fade it up there a bit, but as I say, because it's small, it's going to be trickier. There we go. There we go. And then on this one, just leave white bits nearer the top, fade it up. I don't know if I did my wood in the wrong place when I did that. I wasn't sure, but it's done now. Now, books. Now we have our pages of our books. I like the edges of pages to be gold. And we have our green gold, which is quite shiny. So I'm going to use that on the edges of these. It makes the books look really special, I think. Go. Now the covers of old books, I always think it's quite nice to use quite dark colours. I think they look more important and more classy, should we say, for want of a better word. So I'm going to use my permanent brown deep first for this bottom book. It's a different colour to the shelf colour. So if you are using a similar brown, you could do the top one instead in this colour, so that it doesn't disappear into the shelf. But I'm quite confident that this is a different enough colour for it to stand out. I'm not doing anything special there, I just blocked that in. It's quite a small space. Now I want a really dark blue. Just looking, I think the ultramarine is going to be the darkest. Here we go. For this one now, again I'm just going to block in this bottom part and then fade that bit up a little bit. I'm never quite sure how to do this because we're under the shelf, so it's dark, but I just want it a bit lighter so it looks, so you can see that it's different to the edge. That's my reason. There isn't really any reason for it being that light, but it just is. Now I'm going to use my terre verde for a green one. Now on these books we have bits left, bits marked on them I mean, so I'm going to leave those and probably do them in a different colour. So here is the front cover of our book. Now with this one, it's drawn like it's rounded on the spine, which means we can do this a bit darker here on each edge, a little bit lighter in the middle, so it just looks like it's a rounded book. We can do the same on these marked bits. I think we'll use a brown, which we use burnt umber, and this bit is fine, just mark it in, but this bit, do it darker here and lighter towards the middle, like that. Our next book I think I want in a red. We've got some dark reds, maybe the mahogany. What colour's that? Yeah, that'll do nicely. I'll just drop it though. Mahogany. Now we've got these bits, but I'm going to not worry about those. I'm going to do my whole spine in the same colour, but again it looks a bit rounded, so you need to just fade your colour a little bit as you go towards the centre, and that helps to emphasise that rounded shape even more, so it's a bit lighter in the middle. And then this bit might be a bit darker where it's near that book, but not worry too much. And our very end book, I want a sort of dark orange, terracotta. That'll do nicely. There we go. Terracotta. Oh, we got a snail. I'm going to do that next. So again, we're just sort of fading to the middle, so putting down a darker layer here, and then just a bit less towards the centre, like that. And then again a darker brown, so a rest. Let's grab the Van Dyck. That's funny how Dyck on Van Dyck brown is spelt in different ways. I suppose phthalo is as well. I'm never sure which is the right way. I just try and spell it the way they do on the pencils, but can't always remember, to be honest. Right, let's do this little shelf. We've got tiny snail. I just think he's cute. I want to do him. So his body, I'm going to do in a grey. I think I'm going to use the charcoal grey. I want him to be fairly dark so we can see him, but there isn't much shading I can do. But I just block him in so he stands out. And his shell, what's that brown ochre look like? Yeah, that'll do nicely. Quite brightish, so we can see him. Now go over lightly like that, sharpen your pencil, and then do a line all the way around the outside of the shell, as thin as you can. Then one on the inside of that swirl, and on the outside of the swirl, and hopefully it looks a little bit three-dimensional. Really hard with such a teeny snail. Don't worry too much about it. Right. Little mushrooms. What colour? Quite like them. I think I want them in a sort of brownish reddish. I'm going to go for this redwood, and just use one colour, block it in a bit here, and then fade it to the top. That's what I'm going to do on all of them. I'm going to make them all the same. They look all the same. It's also easier. There's a couple more at the other end of the shelf, but they look different, so we won't do those in this colour. But our little stems I'm going to do in a very light cinnamon. Don't press too hard. Now I know I normally do stems in grey, and that's wanted these a little bit different, but I'm going to go over them in the charcoal grey again really lightly, just to sort of dull them a bit. You could make the outsides darker than the centre, but for me it's just too small. Right, we're going to move across and do these two mushrooms now. I'm going to use the Davys grey for the stems. Here it is. I'm going to have to sharpen it. There we go. And I think I might use this on the top. So just fade it up a bit. Like that. And then underneath, what have we got? I think permanent brown. A bit different. Again, a bit darker at the bottom. And fade them up. There we go. I have no idea what I'm going to do with the bird. The toucan, I think he is. But we'll do these instead. This first one, I'll have a little bubbly potion. We'll do it pink, I think. What should we grab? The coral deep, I think. There we go. Now I'm going to try and leave the little bubbly circles white, but I may struggle. It's a very pretty pink, I have to say. Being not a pink lover, I do like this one. There we go, just trying to make it quite dark, but leave the bubbles. There we are. Now, that is the coral deep. I want some, I'm going to use the pink bloom, which is a lighter version of a similar colour for the top. So I think this looks like a piece of fabric, so it's not going to have any sort of shine or anything on. So I'm just going to block it in and then make that bit a little bit darker there by just layering that pencil up a tad. And the little tie, maybe a bit darker, maybe the azalea pink. Now this might be a bit lighter in the middle because it might be a sort of shiny twine of some sort. There we go. Now we've got the outside here. I feel it needs a bit of grey just to make it look a bit bottly, glassy. Bottly, that's the right word, obviously. I am going to use the graphite, I think, this time. And just put a bit here and here. A bit underneath, leave a little white gap there to make it look a bit like shiny glass. Now our next one, I'm thinking this is the glass and this is the bit of liquid in it. What colour liquid should we do in this one? Let's have a look. We haven't done any orange potions. Let's do an orange or yellow. Or red. Let's do a red one first and then in the middle one. So we're going to use my vermilion to just really block it in. It's going to look very, very red. Wow. Red. And then this one we can do orange and yellow. What should we do? Marigold. I know I haven't done the glass. I'll do all the glass in a minute. So I'm going to do marigold here and here and here. And then some yellow. Cadmium yellow light will work, I think. Need to layer it up a bit so it shows up. There we go. And now I'm going to use the graphite again for both of these other bottles too, so they sort of match. So here I'm going to put a fair amount on the edge and fade towards the middle. So a little bit differently to that one. And the same here. Now I've got a lid and a sort of cloth to do. These are matching, so we'll match these. So this red one, should we use the ochre? Red ochre needs a sharpen. Don't they all? Oops. Wants to crumble a bit. There we go. It's not that different to the vermilion really. And this orange and yellow one, ooh, I think we've used every pencil in the box. What should we use? Let's use something really light. Let's use the primrose yellow. It's a lot lighter. It'll look very different. But yeah, it's dark enough to stand out from that violet colours in the background. And we're just going to use some white on these before we move on. So here is this. Now the white's going to be shining from here. It won't get through the shelf, but we'll do like we did on these bottles. Well, do it on this side. So I'm just going to put a line down there, one down there, and one through there. Oh, try not to get it on your ribbon. My pen doesn't want to do a very good job. Never mind. And here we have our bird. Now I really want to colour him as a black toucan. So she picks up a brown. No, let's grab the black. You don't have to colour him black, but I just feel like he might stand out more. So here is my ivory black, and we can change it up a little bit. So here I'm going to fade this to the end of the bit there, like that, and the same here. So you can see these separate sections, even though we're only using one colour, you can still see that he's not just one mass of colour. So you need to be light like that. I'm going to do this bit really lightly. And then, oops. We could draw feathers on him, but because he's small and detailed, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make a bit of a light bit in the middle of the wing there. This one I'm going to fade towards the outside, and this one I'm going to block in really dark. And this one I'm going to fade like the others. It's quite quick when you're using only one pencil, but maybe I'm going a bit fast. I'm sorry if I am getting excited. There we go. It is exciting colouring a new book. And that one, so a bit darker at the top and lighter at the bottom, and then the feathers look like they're sort of sitting on top of each other, I suppose. And then this one too. Now here, same, so darker at the top, lighter at the bottom. And this little sort of bit there, and then the tail feathers in a similar ilk. I'll go below the shelf in a minute, branch even, so pale at the ends like that. So quite quick for him. I feel his legs might be black as well, but his feet maybe not. Toucans tend to have bright yellow bills, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this cadmium yellow light to do his bill really bright, and his feet. And I don't think the feet would be this colour, but it just makes him stand out a little bit more, I think. There he is. Now where should we go? Well, we've got how long have we got? About 5 minutes. We'll do some little bottles over here, I think. Oops. Here. Let's just grab some random colours and off we go. That's a bit not very good. This one will do. Phthalo green. This little bottle here. So like the bottles we did on the other side, I'm going to fade to the middle like that, and then over colour the bottom bit to make it look like the liquid's, just making it a little bit darker, and then go around the lid like that. Now this one contains a love potion, obviously, so we need a heart colour. I'm going to use the Bengal Rose Deep. Now this colour goes neon pink if you put white on it, so I can safely use it for the heart because I'm not going to put any white pen on top of the heart, but on the actual bottle itself I will be using white pen, so I mustn't use this colour there. I'm going to use something a little bit lighter. Let me have a quick look. I think the azalea pink. Have I used that already? Is that it? I think I've used it already. I'll have to find it. There it is. So I used the azalea pink for the bottle because that one doesn't seep into the pen. I used it down there, didn't I? But it doesn't matter. So trying to go a bit lighter towards the centre. There we go. Get a blue for our next one. The cornflower blue is rather a nice colour. Try that one. I think it's a bit purpley, but not so much that it won't stand out, hopefully. So again, a bit darker down here where the liquid is. Now you could do the lids different colours, but it's quite fiddly work, so I tend to be a bit lazy and just alizarin crimson, and just do the whole thing the same colour. But you can do a complementary colour or a darker or lighter colour of the same sort of colour. But these are going to all match. Last one, let's do a yellow. This is brilliant yellow. Needs sharpening though. I'm not sure if we're going to get the contrast between the colours from in the liquid bit. And if I put another layer on, I'm not sure it's really going to show up that well, but there it is. I'm looking at what we've got left. I'm going to persevere and do a little bit more because I want one more video only after this one. So I'm going to do this little row next, and we'll do them in a similar way, I think, with just the one colour. And then we'll put on some white pen on all of them after. So I've got a light peach. Just keeping an eye on the time. I've got to go out later, but not quite yet. That's pale, isn't it? It's not gonna go dark. It's quite sweet. Let's do a cerulean blue. I like this colour. I think I've used it already. Oh, is that a label? It isn't now. It can be, actually. I know I'd said about doing all the labels in the same colour, but because I have messed that one up, I'm going to do that bit darker under there. And I'm going to just grab, what should we grab? Yeah, well, I'm just going to grab the ivory back and just gently go over that label. Like that. It's gone green. Is that my imagination? It doesn't matter. if it is, but there we go. Now, whoops, this one's got a label. I'm going to use my almond for. Remember the almond? And then we'll colour it up in. Can we use a cobalt purple? This one hasn't got a line, so we can just do it all the same sort of colour. There we go. Now I am going to do the, what's the purple deep? Yes, purple deep. This is quite a reddish colour. Need to sharpen. Same again though. Oops, that's a bit too sharp. Fade towards the middle. Don't forget the neck, lid, then go over this bit so it's a bit darker. There we go. Last one on this shelf. I'm thinking, I want it darker. What have we got? I'm looking at the violets, can't do that. Let's go terre verde deep. Have we used that yet? Yes. Let's use this then. The cadmium green. It's not really a bottle green colour, but because we've got so many and I want to mix it up a bit, I thought, oh, I might as well have a go at this one. We're going to do these two and then we'll do all our white work, or else I'll just smudge it everywhere. So, so we have a kilner jar and another jar. I think I might do this one like it's a sort of just a jar rather than seeing what's in it. We could do it in a, I could show you in a slightly different colour. Let's try this Venetian blue deep. This is quite a grey purpley blue colour. We'll leave a little line along the edge of our jar like that. Go right underneath the top though, and then just sort of fade it a bit into the middle. So that could look like that's just the jar and we're not seeing the contents. But it could look like it's a jar, but we've got the bit of white around the edge to look like the sort of glassy shine. It's just a bit of a different way. It's quite hard to demonstrate it on such a teeny thing, but hopefully you get the idea. And I'm going to use the mauve. Now I know we've used that in the background, but we're right near the edge where we haven't got any mauve. And I'm going to use that for the lid. Little cute bit of sort of lilac-y fabric. Now what's in our kilner jar? Let's get a bit of metal. Here's the graphite for this line, because I'm thinking that might be the sort of, I don't think they're metal, are they? They're sort of plasticky and glassy, but anyway, we're doing it like that. We could do a glassy top as well, a bit lighter. In fact, we could do the whole thing like this. Grey. Glassy. It could be an empty one waiting to be filled up with something, couldn't it? There we go. And our label again in the almond colour. Now I am also, just before I do my pen, going to nip over here and do my labels in almond. It's just a little thing because next video I will record probably, I'm not sure, I might forget basically. There's a bit of background in there, look. That's all of them, so that's fine. So we'll just pop back and do our pen. I just didn't want to rub it off with my hand. I'm going to try and put a bit on here. I don't know if it will really show up very much, but on the bottles, all on this edge. Not on the label. if you go through the liquid line with your shine, it makes it look more like it's inside rather than outside the bottle. There we go. Now, how are we doing? 35. I'm looking at what we've got left. Well, if the next video is extra long, it's extra long. I think I'm going to leave this one here because we have done a lot. I've got a huge pile of pencils beside me as well. Oops, we're very square. Hang on. Let's get a bit less drunk and let you see what we've done. We've actually done quite a lot, haven't we? There we go. You can see the start of my pile of pencils. But that is me for today. So yes, tomorrow's going to be the last one. There's a fair bit to do, but I think it'll be fine, and it might just be a long video, but we might be able to get it all done quite quickly. It just depends on how fussy I am about background and stars and things like that. But anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and happy colouring.